3, 2, 1. You know the countdown. That means we're back. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Say Something fam. We in the house. We in the house. Happy to be here. We got to get to our check-in before we can get to our greatness. But we will do both with grace. So, my friend, let them know how you feeling. Let the Say Something fam get the check-in.
Your boy is tired. It's been a lot of work lately. Not too much fun happening going on outside of work. Been tired, but I'm excited to always come here, talk sports, hang out with the boys.
Yes, sir.
You know, have a good time. This is my excitement for the week, so I'm just ready to get it in. How you holding up?
Same thing, man. You know, I feel like this week was long for a lot of people. Reek, we was talking about it. My boy behind the cam, Mitch just echoed the statement. So, you know, I think it's been a tough week. You know, it's a long one, but you know, the grind is rewarding. I think, you know, when you're able to look back on it and get through a week like this, and you're like, okay, you know what? Still alive, still kicking, still got some more energy to give, which is surprising. But like Mitch is saying, when we're here and able to come together for something positive and productive, it's invigorating. So I need it. We need it. We're excited to be here. We hope you need it. And we hope that was enough time for your check-in as well, because that is needed. So now, as promised, as we always do, let's open up the book, the agenda, today's topics. Starting off with the NBA. We don't want to get too hot too quick.
Okay, NBA
you know,
status.
Otherwise I'd start in the NFL. If we wanted to get real jalapeno spicy, I would start there.
It's coming.
Yeah, but it's on the way.
Pause.
And just know I've spared y'all from just an early jalapeno food fight. Okay? NBA. Good old National Basketball Association. Season's right around the corner.
End of the month. We ready.
Preseason just is literally one game. We're in. Last game is tonight versus the Lakers.
7:30.
7:30
Pacific time.
Steph is resting.
Yeah, take it easy.
We're undefeated, right? So we haven't lost. We've played some decent teams.
Yeah.
And we're winning pretty convincingly.
Yeah.
We're also very deep. So what I noticed that's really kind of insane is, especially in preseason, there'll be these lulls where other teams are like really trying to find those back end lineups, and they're throwing in whoever and their mother. And
G leaguers, future 10-day contract guys.
Thank you. And we are throwing in some guys, some actual
post.
You know, these guys aren't. Well, I mean, he's super back end, but like he's even getting some nice burn.
He's getting some burn.
But like, yeah, everybody that we have is a guy with some sort of prestige to at least be on the court.
Right.
I'm not saying he's going to be a star, but you notice all of our lineups have meaning. It's like you look at them, you're like,
they all moving nice.
Okay, that one works. Like, you know, so I'm excited to see how Steve Kerr, I feel like weirdly, this is what Steve Kerr has always wanted. You know, and this is why he's been so mean to so many of these guys that we love, is like, I feel like he wants these decisions, right? Like, I feel like he truly wants to sit there and go, I can pick anybody today.
Yeah.
We're all ready to go. And he wants to be that guru guy who's the opposite of like a Tibbs, right? Like a guy who's like, I'm known for winning championships by unlocking the whole roster.
Squatty. It's a team game.
Right? Like,
don't forget it.
I want to be the guy known for bringing out 12.
We are like kind of like the originators of this modern era of teams that play collectively as a team. We started the strength in numbers.
Yep.
And now it seems like there's other teams like the Knicks.
Yep.
And even Boston with how deep they are. Even though
Denver a couple of those years.
Denver, even, you know, so it really is showing the strength from Steve Kerr that when he does have a bunch of players that are willing to fit their mold, they can produce.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I mean, I'm just excited to see how that'll end up panning out. You know, we have a lot to look forward to. I think the one thing we've been kind of talking about a lot on this show, and whether we've always felt good about saying it or not, you know, is kind of here or, you know, neither here nor there.
Right.
The fact of the matter is we are a better team without Klay Thompson. The money that was there, the shots that he needed, and just the type of player he was. You may call me crazy before the season's even started to have stamped that as a conclusive statement, but to me, it's long done. I mean, like, when you look at, we're giving borderline hockey vibes,
Right.
with like bringing sets of players in. Like, you know, maybe there'll be
first squad,
yeah,
second squad,
yeah, and
next squad.
And when those squads make sense, it's like in the way we run our offense, there's always going to be tons of shots and tons of opportunities and tons of run up and down.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully you have fresh legs. And ideally, if we have, you know, 2 full fives, you know, or you know, something around 12 men that he feels comfortable with, it would be hard for a lot of these teams to have enough to go the longevity of 4 quarters.
Yeah.
Constantly matching our lineups. Now, they may have a lineup that's better than ours at some point in there.
Yeah.
But like, the game is long.
Right.
And NBA teams have shown prior that you can have the best starting lineup, but if you're not willing to patch together a full 4, we might take it from you.
Right. And I just feel like right now, these guys, speaking on Clay, where it's like we took away 1 and brought in 2 or 3 to replace.
Yep.
And right now, they're kind of showing out. They're all making their shots.
Hello.
Buddy Hield, Lindy Waters, Moses Moody have all been killing it, have all waited for their shine, and now they're getting it. And it's nice to have, like you said, each one of them can have fresh legs. So when they get on the court, let it loose. Like we said earlier, Waters with that thing always.
Hammer time. So
it is nice to see all these guys producing, and I'm hoping it can go into the regular season and go all 82 games.
100%. And maybe my most joyous thing is seeing how teams just cannot key in on Steph right now.
Right.
They just can't. They can't afford to. We have a Buddy Hield who's actually made more than Steph.
Boy, he's been
Waterman. Waterman. You know, / Buddy Supreme.
Right.
Thank you, my friend, for coming on through. But he looks like he's working magic in our system. And the reality is although Steph has been injured, he has made more threes, I believe, since 2021, some stat that, where he is leading the league in threes from some time period that's actually multiple years ago, multiple seasons ago. And he's, you know, pretty firmly in the lead. We do know that if Steph had not lost chunks of time, that he definitely would be that number 1. But it's just being able to say that is amazing.
I mean, I feel like that's been Buddy Hield's role the whole time he's been in the league is, hey, go up there, let it loose.
Yeah.
He's been playing well on these last couple of teams in this kind of role where he can just go around, doesn't have to be the number 1 scorer, gets a lot of open shots, and he's somebody who could really knock them all down. So it's really nice to have him on our team because I remember a lot of times us playing against a team that had Buddy Hield.
For real.
And he would just come in and, all right, well, now we're down 10 because he just decided to go for 15 in this quarter. So he's definitely somebody who's super streaky, and he can get lots of points straight off the bench. Or even if he's a starter, he could be a good role player, somebody who Steph can kick it to when he gets all the attention.
Absolutely. And I'm loving DeAnthony Melton. This guy to me is just going to be, like, you know, I think I said, you know, that he's giving me borderline, like, he's a mix of a lot of players we've seen off the bench before, where he's giving me, it's super interesting because, like, I don't even know if we've had a guy that's really like this in a way of being like Jared Jack, but he doesn't even have the size like Melton. Like, Melton is like a firm, like 6'4", like, but like got weight on him and plays great defensively. Like, I think we're going to love watching him guard for Steph. Yes, guard for Steph.
Right.
But, like, he, to me, is what we always wanted in GP2, but even bigger. Like, he's a bigger guy. GP plays bigger than he is. But, like, this dude is taller, bigger frame.
Got a good handle.
Handles there, and the jump shot.
Yeah.
Mans can hit a 3.
Yeah.
Right? And so I'm super excited to see, and just above all, he's a very high IQ guy, which, like, is what our team, clearly freaking Steve Kerr, it's the only thing they respect.
And, like, opposite of GP, like, he's made his clutch shots for sure, but I feel like DeAnthony is somebody who's more like, if we do kick it out to him, it's like, oh, we kind of expect him to make it, whereas, like, a GP where it's like, he's not really known for his shot so much, and it's nice to have guys just all around where it's like, you may not be a 3-point shooter per se, but when you're open, you knock them down. And
100%.
We've lacked at that, having like a Draymond or having like a GP or guys like that, where it's like, they're kind of leaving you guys open. Where
for a
these new guys we got, you can't really leave them open.
Absolutely. And to be real about GP2, all those big shots, I think 90% of those were out the corner.
Yeah.
And I love you for it. But like, you know, Melton, these guys, they can shoot anywhere around the arc. We love that kind of spacing.
Need it.
And then lastly, you know, I'll just give a quick shout out, Kyle Anderson.
Yeah.
Big Sean Livingston vibes. I said it earlier on. I'm just seeing it over and over again. Of course, maybe even a little less offensive than Sean Livingston, which is
for
funny.
sure, for sure.
But
Savvy.
probably more of a rebounder though, right?
Mhm.
And a guy that, in my opinion, can be more of a prime defensive player.
Yeah, for sure.
Livingston played well with us, but he had 2 bad knees, and so
Yeah.
we weren't trying to make him jump too much.
Sean,
love
he
you,
showed
dog.
out
No,
for
he's
us,
one of
baby.
my favorite. Honestly, he's one of my favorite role players.
Right.
I think we've ever had. So that's big props to you, Kyle.
Yeah.
I just love what I see out of you, and like I've been saying, that ball out of Draymond's hand so much.
Right.
And people trust you, my man, and you aren't doing what he's doing. Ain't none of this.
Mhm.
We don't need you to be the Harlem Globetrotters. You know who you are. I want those kind of guys on my team.
Right. And people are kind of like confused when they play defense against him because it's like he's moving so slow that you don't know whether to like back off and wait for him to pass it.
Right.
Because then a lot of times he's like looking around. He's just like, oh, I can just toss it in the hoop right
100%.
now. So I like that he plays slow compared to a lot of guys. Just sees the court very well. Good veteran presence. So it's nice to have him out there.
Absolutely. So who do you think is going to be the second leading scorer for this team? I mean, we obviously haven't mentioned any of the young goons, but we brought up a lot of players. So who do you think?
Man, that's really tough. Depending on how much playing time, I feel like it's going to either be between Buddy Hield or it's going to be Buddy Hield.
I like that.
Or I'm hoping for the absolute best, we somehow get Andrew Wiggins to play 70 games. He should be our second leading scorer.
I feel like we haven't talked about him.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew Wiggins has been in and out of the lineup for the last 2 seasons.
Great point.
We're not going to sit here and judge what happens to you off the court, man. We don't know your life like that. But at the same time, there is a lot of mystery behind what exactly is going on in terms like, is it injury? Is it mental? Is it something going on with the fan back home?
We don't know.
We just don't know. And the play hasn't come up to par when you do show up. So we want to see some more from you. I want to see you be our second leading scorer. I hope you can come and show out. That would be my 2 picks of our second guys. But if we allow him to play, I think Moses Moody could be one of our top 3 scorers. He scored the most points in the last 3 games for the team.
Easily.
Lots of 20-point games. Somebody you absolutely can't leave open that other teams seem to be willing to leave open. So
with all the shooters we got,
it's hard to pick. The shooters we got. So I think if Steve Kerr can unleash him, he could be our second or third leading scorer. And then I just don't know if Kuminga is going to be somebody who's improved enough offensively to really up his scoring numbers. But hopefully he can be like an 18, 19-point game kind of guy and could potentially battle it out for one of the top spots.
Absolutely. I love those. I think Wiggins, we haven't talked about him at all. And, I'd love to see a big Wig, revitalization within the system. He's still young. People act like he's a super old guy. This guy's young. It feels like that All-Star year, even though that was pretty fake, was like so yesterday.
And then that playoff run, him dunking on Luka, it's like he was going off for us. He was a pretty damn near the most important part besides Steph
definitely
of that whole run
for sure.
Playing defense and showing up on offense. So, Andrew, you clearly see what it's like when you have and are making an impact for the team. It's championship numbers. So, let's bounce back, man. Let's bring it back so we can have a chance right now.
Yeah. I love what you said as well about Moses Moody. It seems like he's been listening to my man's Mitch. He's been listening to us on this show, talking that talk, and hopefully Kerr is going to put an ear to the streets as well. Man, come get a little bit of this game. But, the guy looks mad.
Yeah.
And so good for him. Keep fighting, Moses. We want to see you earn that spot because right now it is making it impossible for you not to be on that court. And it looks like you're doing that intentionally.
Right.
So let me give you that applause. Do your thing. Keep that going. We need you on the team. You're 6'7". You hit threes and you can defend 1 through 3. Why wouldn't we need that? Right. And so just continue getting your IQ up. Play the game. Right, and when I mean play the game, I mean play Kerr's game. Understand you should have already been in the lineup.
Right.
Don't get caught up on that. Don't be hurt about it. We know your game. Real Warriors fans know your game. Just get that IQ where the system needs it, and then you can come back and stomp the yard on everybody and said, I told you so. Right? But get in there, get in this offense that matches your skill set so perfectly and unleash. We know you're 21, which is crazy to say.
Crazy.
Right?
So young.
So is Kuminga. But that leads me into, I'm a firm believer that our second leading scorer this year will be Kuminga.
Let's go.
I think that the spacing this year is going to be pretty crazy for a guy him and Wiggins, but Wiggins I still believe can space the floor.
Yeah.
But like that's pretty much our two athletes. And so with a guy like that who already, we've had times where he was out there last year with no spacing.
Mm-hmm.
So to think this year, what it's going to look like when he's not having to run around with 5 point guards and no bigs, and no shooters and it's like now we start to have a little more well-rounded of a roster. I think there'll be more slash space. I think there'll be more room for alleys. And I think at the end of the day, there'll be a lot more people unable to drift and give help defense, which is the only thing I've ever seen stop Kuminga really. And so I'll be excited to see what he does around all these shooters. My biggest concern for him, and this doesn't really have to do with him scoring, is like if he really wants to be our second best player, I truly believe this will be a year where we can we get an idea of your playmaking, right? And like maybe, of course, we don't get the true ceiling, but this is going to give us a glimpse this year. I mean, you won't have a better opportunity to find open shooters on a night-to-night basis. And so with your ability to drive, if you can't kick, is going to be a problem. And like, I think that will be his ceiling is how well he's able to play when he does inevitably get met at the rim.
And also to your point that you talked about before, are you going to rebound this year?
Right. Please.
Can we get about 6-7 rebounds a game from you? Can we not have, I understand Podziemski is a great all-around player, but can you get more boards than him? Yeah. He's a guard, boy.
Bump into him. Like
you can jump above, you can reach you could probably touch the top of the backboard, my guy.
Yeah. Or at least
jump
follow
up
him.
there, bro.
Yeah.
Get up in there, move some weight around, get some boards, putbacks. That'll help your scoring as well as being able to pass and create for other people because that'll just open it up for you.
100%. And you too, Wiggins. I know you're listening. Real fast before we move into the NFL where the jalapenos roam, we're going to go ahead and give a quick finals matchup for you guys. That is one from the East, one from the West. Mitch will start us off.
You know how we do is Warriors versus the world, baby. So Warriors.
Cheers.
Especially if we're able to make a move that doesn't hurt the roster too much to get a big man to solidify us when we have to play down the stretch in the last 5 minutes of a game. Somebody who could be a presence down low. I think that could really give us another step up.
Yep.
But other than that, I mean, Boston Celtics look like a powerhouse again. Doesn't matter if they're starting slow. They can come back from a 20-point lead. We've seen it a lot. So I think the reigning champions are a team that you absolutely have to look out for.
Yeah.
And then the Knicks made a big move for Karl-Anthony Towns. I think that's another team that really has tried to build themselves to be a contender against the Celtics and the Celtics stopper. So I say Celtics or Knicks are going to be my choices from the East. I'm not giving it a full thought. This is just, real quick, spur of the moment thought on it. But those are teams I'm excited to see from the East who could really step up.
For sure.
What about you?
For me, I think that, everything that he said is I'm in that realm as well. But in terms of the West, I'm gonna give the lean this year to the Thunder until I see otherwise.
Okay.
I know a lot of people probably are like a little taken aback by that, but I think the Thunder were so not even scratching their surface last year. And then to add a Hartenstein, who I think is like exactly what they were missing last year, where they just had no real beef, right? Yeah. It was just like, if we really take it to your chest, this is game over. And this is a guy who is pretty much perfect for that system. Like he's beefy, he's big, but like he's also really able to pass out of doubles. He's a very high IQ big, and he's not a guy that needs a lot of shots to make a big impact on a game. And also is going to be a plus defender. So I like that a lot. I think the Thunder could really make some noise. And I'm just a big SGA fan. Like I think he's one of these guys that the way that he plays, I don't know if anybody really knows what he actually needs around him. Because I think he's a chameleon. I think he would make it work with whoever. And so that's why I'm really big on them this year. And then in the East, if I weren't going to take who he took, which obviously are very viable options in the Knicks and Boston.
Mm.
I would say I wouldn't count out Giannis and Dame.
Ooh,
I know they looked horrible last year, and I know Chris Middleton started off the year injured as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a lot of who's here, who's not, and really no time to get familiar. I just think those guys are such good basketball minds and such good competitors that I think they can't be worse than they were last year.
Right.
And they weren't bad, right? Like they still did their thing, went to the playoffs, blah, blah, blah. But like it was just a drama-filled dump over there last year. The coach firing, Doc Rivers being butt, all that stuff. Just I felt like it was too much to come back from and make something out of that season. I'd be excited to see the way they figure it out, with one more year under their belt. And, I don't think they really retooled, but I know they can't be worse than they were last
year.
Yeah. So that would be my quick bam and bam. Next, we're going to move into the NFL, like I said, where the jalapenos roam.
Oh, boy.
We'll start off with the Raiders. Let Mitch take it over and tell you the newest update.
Let's not even give them the Raiders right now, because God damn, what are we doing, folks? Just to start off, we played last week the Steelers. Always a tough game, but we are now 2-4. We lost 32-13. It seems like we're in a place where we like to score early in the first quarter, make it seem like we got some momentum, and then we wait till the fourth quarter to score again during garbage time within the last 5 minutes.
Right.
We're already down by like 20. It's pretty depressing out there. You got Aiden O'Connell throwing it 40 times. I don't think we want Aiden O'Connell to throw it 40 times. That just shows how bad our running game is right now. Madison had 14 carries for a total of 33 yards. Can't really win like that when on the flip side you got Najee going for 106 with a touchdown and Justin Fields only throwing it 24 times, but they still can score 32 points against us. Brock Bowers was able to show out. He seems to be the only bright spot of the entire Raiders organization. He had 9 receptions for 71 yards. It's just depressing out there, man. You guys moved from Oakland, made it tough, but I still was trying to rock with y'all. I think I'm officially saying my goodbyes to the Vegas Raiders. I can't really rock with y'all anymore, and the fact that you're not in Oakland really helps ease me separating the ties from you guys, because it's just terrible from the top down. I mean, the same ownership, same management for the last 20 years. I know he got it from Mark Davis, got it from his pops, who was really doing his thing back in the day.
Yeah.
But I think, with the way the Raiders are playing, the NFL needs to start interjecting and being like, yo, maybe you should sell this team if this is the kind of product you're going to put out for 20 straight years. Because that seems to be the only constant over the time. Yeah, is the ownership. So it's hard for me to now blame coaching, blame the players. It's like, who is the blame on at this point? What are we doing? Are we playing for anyone right now? What is our direction? What is our identity right now? Is it the coaching? Is it the front office? Is it the players? You guys, Raiders organization, somebody speak up, because nothing's looking good. And our best player, Devontae Adams, just like Randy Moss, out of there. For guess what?
A bag of
third
chips.
Round pick.
A bag of chips.
That could possibly be a second round pick if my man goes to the Super Bowl or is a first team.
Goes to Pro Bowl, all that.
Yeah, not many people do that in less of a full season. So, damn, a third round pick? Like what? Again, you guys were asking for a second round pick and got a third round pick, which is what you were going to expect.
That's right. We said.
Nobody's going to try and raise the price on that. So that's another L in itself. You lose a Hall of Fame player to potentially get somebody in the third round who's probably not going to be good, because let's say the facts. We haven't drafted well in the last 15 years. When we play our games, what they show on the screen is not in the NFL anymore. Not in the NFL anymore. First round. In jail.
Traded. Free agent.
Like every single one for the last 15 years has not panned out, and the ones that have somewhat panned out, like a Khalil Mack or now a Max Crosby, they want out and they're probably leaving as well. So
Depressing.
yeah, it's depressing to say the least. I just wish we could figure it out. Somebody from the organization let us know what's going on, because it was a whole different story during the offseason, which is pretty normal for the Raiders and the Raider fans. Very optimistic, and then the season starts and it's ass. So that's my little roundup for the jalapeno heat for the NFL and the Raiders. Sayonara, boys. I'm hopping on another team because right now y'all ain't it, bro, and y'all left. So deuces.
You got to earn loyalty.
That takes a lot too.
Yeah,
If I've
real,
been rocking with y'all,
bruh.
like through bad seasons.
Bruh.
There's no reason to. Y'all really aren't giving a reason to be a fan of the team anymore.
That's real. And I mean, like we said as well, it's just also about how you approach business. Like, you guys just don't even make anybody feel good.
Nothing.
Like the fans don't feel good. None of the players ever leave feeling good. The players who are left behind don't feel good. I can't imagine the front office, like, unless you guys are in on this cynical joke, I can't imagine you guys are happy. So it just seems like one big cocktail of unhappiness in that place. And it's sad to see that even a guy like Antonio Pierce, like, even when they're bringing in people that the players want, really, like, that was really all for the culture move. It just seems like the front office can't get out of its own way anyway. And nothing will mask that.
I'm not gonna lie. I think the fact that we didn't get a quarterback, Antonio Pierce lost a lot of people after that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we discussed it before weeks before, where it's just like,
what was the expectation?
Yeah, what was the expectation? And then if you are a player and you see no moves made, especially at the most important position in football, where is the hope for the guys? Like, There's nothing to look at. Nobody's getting behind Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew.
Right. And especially with the other moves y'all are making. Like, y'all were making some high-profile splashes to, compete, and to not think that you can address the one position that
gets it to all those people.
It's known across the NFL. You can't do it without. I think that's a good point.
Can we go to some happiness?
Yeah.
Can we talk about the Niners? Jesus.
Let's shake on over to the other side. Sometimes the grass is greener over here, but not that much greener. I mean, we right now, are 3-3. So we are numero uno in the division, but that is not really saying a lot. We just beat Seattle, which is humongous because Seattle was obviously in first. It's also who we're now tied with in first. So we are by default in first.
Let's go.
So we will take that. It was a 36-24 win. So, we like those. It was a little closer than it needed to be. Felt a lot like the rest of the games that we've played this year, where it's 3/4 of dominance. And then it looks like we're just going to open the door for you to walk right in and take the dub. But this time the defense was able to make a stand. Very, very clutch interception of Geno Smith that really allowed us to score one more time, close the game out, make it official. But, again, scary injury times. We got Jordan Mason getting dinged up. I've been trying to tell people about my boy Garendo. Came in.
Isak.
10 carries, 99 yards. Would have been a tug, too, if he didn't overthink it.
Right.
And I will say I'm fine with what he did. The reality is we could have, ran the clock out at that point, blah, blah, blah. But you're a rookie. This is your first touchdown, or was going to be. And it would have been a 73-yarder. So let's just put that in the career books next time, my boy. I was like, I almost passed out when you took a slide. But nonetheless, very happy for the result. You broke through the line. You got the final knife put into the heart there. So appreciate you, and quite a different contrast from the Raiders, like we're saying, and not in a mean way, but just how we've been talking about a rush game. What is going on when a Zamir can't run, a Madison can't run, all these guys, and then we're bringing in dudes who, yes, they're okay running. You know what I mean? And yes, we have a solid O-line, but this is more schematic at this point. And when you see a guy like Garendo getting 9.9 yards a carry, and I think Jordan Mason was over 7.
Right.
I mean, I think Zamir White might be able to run on our team. So that's another question as well with the Raiders in terms of just maybe it is Pierce as well. Maybe some of these guys, once you're not going to get a quarterback and have some of these guys that'll beat the playbook anyway,
right.
If you ain't good enough with the playbook along with that too, and you're going to go ahead and pass on some of those key positions, you sure should make it up with the play calling. And I think with the Niners, you just see Shanahan can still choke. We know this.
Right, yeah.
But in terms of like moment for moment creativity, being a guy that's fun to watch with football, who knows who he has out there in his personnel and makes calls according to such.
Yeah.
Fun to watch, right? And it's been a very up and down, heartbeat kind of season, right? Where one moment we feel like we might have this thing back in control.
Right.
Next moment, shovel right over the back of the head. We're laying back down on the ground. I think with us, it's going to always be injuries. Yeah. If this bug keeps biting, we're a long way from the finish line. So, like, if it's biting at this rate, I don't see us making it. Because, knock on wood, it will be somebody too key and for too long. And we're already playing with pretty much zero room for error because of C-Mac and these guys already not being there, Dre Greenlaw. Some of these guys that we thought we would be able to cruise control until they came back, it is very clear now we will not be cruising nothing. We'll be fighting every single step of this way. And hopefully we get to see some greatness from some of these guys that didn't think they were going to be in the fight quite so early. Yeah. Malik Mustafa has been playing great. I've called him out for a while. That's our rookie. I love what our rookies are.
He's the one who got the pick on Gino,
yes.
Right? Yeah.
My boy has stone hands usually, so it was amazing to see that. And then Renardo Green is the guy who got the last one coming across with DK. Renardo Green
hopped in front.
Renardo Green is 5'8", 170, to be clear. They say he's not even smart enough to be spooked. So, like, that's how he is.
I'm going against anybody anywhere.
Because you shouldn't have lined up against DK. That was clearly a matchup mistake. And you ate that. You literally said, not only am I willing, I'll go ahead and take control. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and have this as my moment, sir. Thank you. And they said the same thing about him when he dealt with Juwan Jennings and some of these other Niners in practice. They said, this dude is a bug, a hassle. So I love what we're seeing out of our rookies. And to be honest, I am very, very thankful to be 3-3. Even though I feel like we could easily be 6-0, the stuff we've dealt with injury-wise, I don't wish this on anybody. Yeah. And it's really at a point now where I'm like, we are getting depleted. Like, we are now one injury away from this being like a different kind of season. Yeah. So,
and to your point, you said Juwan Jennings. That made me think he's going to be out. And your boy, Ricky Parcells, he's going to be playing in this game, I believe, sir. Right?
I hope so. They've been saying it for a couple weeks now. He was shot, right? So, whenever we get him back, I'm happy to have him back. Right. He took one to the chest like 50 Cent and came back and said, I'll just throw the pads on.
Right.
So, Ricky, if we see you out there, I have no doubt you'll ball out. And I feel like the rest of the team, they have to get +5 attributes pretty much just for knowing you came out there after that kind of wound. But, yeah, it'll be interesting to see, like you said, with a little bit of change of personnel, as we've been doing every week, playing musical chairs. We'll see how it goes this week. We are playing the Chiefs. So no rest for the weary. Right when you think, God, we're starting to put some stuff together, here's big bad Patty Mahomes, a guy that we cannot beat, a team that we cannot beat. And we seem to always make it close. It seems to always be where they're struggling to figure it out against us. And then in the right time, they always do. I would love for us to just get a win here. Yeah. And I would love for it to be without these guys that we're so used to having. Because I feel like what that would do if we potentially get these guys back down the road would be amazing for this team mentally, potentially physically as well. I don't even want to give a score prediction. I just want to say good luck, boys. I've been through a lot with the Niners and the Chiefs, and really every time it has not gone my way. It's been very, very painful. And so with that, I'm just going to salute my boys. I predict a big game from Purdy. That is what I will say. Purdy, he loves these kind of moments. And I really do hope we see Ricky. Like my boy said, run, Ricky, run. Get out there. I'd love to cheer it up for you, my boy. And it'd be a great day for you to come back. I mean, imagine making your debut against the Chiefs. Right. My God. Last thing I'll say on the Niners is C-Mac update. For all these cappers saying week 7, stop playing. We got a bye week 9. If you think that we're going to see C-Mac before week 9, you're out of your mind.
Lost it.
You are out of your mind. I have C-Mac on almost all my fantasy teams. So let me tell you, this is coming from the heart when I tell you this. He's not coming back before week 10. We won't see him before week 10. That's the earliest, and even that is in jeopardy. I know you want to grab my throat as I'm saying it. Trust me, it hurts. I've drafted this guy a lot. Number one. But like I'm telling you right now, there hasn't been one bit of news that has gone his way when you read in between the lines. There's a bunch of in-heres. There's a bunch of good progress. We loved what he did. All of my fingers represent huge setbacks.
Right.
So just be real with yourself as I am with not only my fantasy teams, but my real life teams. This guy will not be here week 10. And I think it is a coin flip in terms of week 10 until we hear more news of consistent practice and true progression on what is tendonitis in the Achilles. Okay?
If the Germans don't give you any good news, hard pressed, bro.
Bro, he's traveling
came
across
all
the
the way back
globe.
from Germany and didn't hear nothing good. So it's all around the world. They know he ain't coming back.
Thank you. Like rugby, all the sports
They
are
all
aware
know.
C-Mac ain't playing. We have college football really, really quickly. God, I keep bumping the mic. Shame on me for those who are hearing it. My apologies. College football real fast. Just 3 games to look out for. Big slate, not the greatest games. We have number 7, Alabama versus number 11, Tennessee. These are 2 teams who struggle through the air immensely, but both can run the heck out of that ball and both have good defenses. Quarterbacks are actually high prestige, both high rating type players. This offense is just not it to get the ball going quickly through the air for long chunk plays. These are just ground and pound teams. Be very interesting to see which one of those quarterbacks has their way, because I think that's going to be who wins the game, just because they're so used to not getting anything from them and winning. Next, we have 24 Michigan versus 22 Illinois. Want to talk about a team without a quarterback? Look at Michigan. I'm talking about they make the Raiders look like they have a couple of those guys. I think that the guy who was originally starting Origi for them, I think he was averaging like 75 yards a game.
Ooh.
Like I'm talking
about Harbaugh to blame on that one. Jeez.
Bro, I think Pop Warner, we can find some guys averaging far more than that. And I'm talking about like 8-year-olds and stuff. Great running team. We all know Michigan's going to run. But, man, I don't even know if I've ever seen that. I think that's why they're 24. They won a game passing 24 yards, I think, or something like that. And they beat USC. So shame on USC for that. But I'm just stating this because it is not fun ball when you're watching Michigan.
Nah.
Illinois, a little better. The reason that they're even ranked is because their offense is something this year. They have a nice little quarterback over there.
Bro, is Lovie Smith still the coach of it?
I'm not sure. I wouldn't be shocked if he was. Because usually it's those kind of guys that bring up a program like that to some sort of relevance. But like, they got some legit ballers over there. They have one of those, kind of mistake-prone quarterbacks, but he's exciting. So we'll see who you get tomorrow. He'll probably be throwing it a lot because Michigan likes to just sit there and hold the ball. So that's that kind of matchup. I wouldn't be too big on skipping something to watch that. Lastly, this is the one. If you're going to watch one, I would watch this one. We have number 5 Georgia versus number 1 Texas.
Thought he was going to say Cal versus NC State, but
hey,
understandably,
I'm gonna let my boy highlight that. I'm just, I'm coming at it from a straight universal newscaster's lens. Berkeley, B-Town, stand up. Cal, we will always give a shout out. I'll let him handle that one real fast to end it. But 5 versus 1, Georgia versus Texas. These are both teams that could easily be number 1. I think that we're getting Quinn Ewers, so not quite as exciting as Arch Manning. Both these quarterbacks can sling it. I would say they're pretty, volatile in terms of, you could get a 380 out of both of them. You could also get a 220 and have it feel horrible the whole game. So I'll be super interested. Both these defenses are very strong. Texas's offense, I would say, is better than Georgia's offense, but I'd say the same about Georgia's defense to Texas's defense. So,
who you got? Who you got in that one? What's the
So
prediction
in
for
these
that?
matchups, I actually have Tennessee beating Alabama. So
Okay.
11-7. Betting on Michigan is like betting on like a turtle race. It's like you just don't even know what you're watching.
And you're hating every second.
Oh.
I'm just like, God, can you just get like 3 yards on a
real.
run one
Just
time?
please.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Like, I know y'all aren't having fun.
God, 97 total yards.
How are you guys still high-fiving? Yeah, like what's going on here? But yeah, so like I would say in that game, I'm gonna just say Illinois because of their ability to throw the ball. And Michigan just isn't what Michigan has been before. They have a great DB, probably the number one in the country, Will Johnson. So I'm not saying it's gonna be easy, but like when you have two semi-close teams in skill, I just believe, bro, you need a quarterback.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna go with Illinois. They have one. He does make mistakes, but he actually is a quarterback. Number 5 versus number 1. I'm gonna really say I'm a believer this year in Texas.
Okay, that's what I was looking for. Because Texas, you never know.
Texas, that's exactly what he's saying. I mean, he lived out there, so he really knows the true pain of like. There's a lot of those guys that get up every day. You want to talk about like a hype community, a hype fan base that just gets guillotined every year. Like just gets absolutely.
And it's always a game like this too, where it's like, oh, exposed. We just lost by 20. Like what?
They just get brought out to the back of the farm 1 or 2 weeks every year and just slaughtered. But I think this year they're really good in for a couple of reasons. One of my main points to why I'm scared of Texas is if Quinn Ewers is not playing well, I don't even think teams want that.
Right.
Like I think teams would prefer Quinn Ewers play just good enough to keep that role because if he really dookies the bed against one of these top tier teams, they're going to pull the plug quick. And I think Arch is different.
Got a little swag.
I think Arch is different, and I think he unlocks this team in a different way with his mobility, his ability to roll out the pocket, hit somebody on the run. This team is more versatile when he is in. I just think at this point they're too invested in Ewers, and they don't want to gut his career. Right. Like if they truly make him a backup, what does his draft stock look like? What does all this look like? Whereas Arch still got some time. Right.
And it's clear he has his dad and his grandpa's genes because he can actually run.
Yes.
Whereas you've seen Eli and Peyton, anti-run game.
Nasty work. So, yeah, I mean, that would be my go. I think either way, though, it's going to be a really, really good game. Yeah. And wouldn't be surprised if Texas choked. I'm just saying what I believe is going to happen. But as we both know, we've watched enough college football to know that you can pretty much bet on one Texas absolute disaster a year. And they, like he said, they look like this a lot. Where it's like this kind of matchup where you're just like, please. And then they just get knocked out. All righty. On to soccer, football, whatever you want to call it. Kick it with your feet into a goal. Bada bing, bada boom.
Kick it with your boy.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm the soccer guy. I'll always be here. And if we want to talk football as well, I can do it in that forte as well. And so, I really look at Pochettino, who we're talking about here, and U.S. men's national team. We're just going to give a quick overview. There's not a huge amount to talk about. But Pochettino lost his first game versus Mexico. 2-0. We haven't lost to Mexico in a long time. Like, we've been on this streak, and that's saying something because Mexico has been known for handling business versus the United States.
I remember being a kid playing against their
pretty much every time was a 2-0, 3-1. And we went on a streak since 2019 where we have been undefeated against them.
Long time.
They truly have lost a lot of world-class talent. They had some really unfortunate stuff happen with a couple of their stars, like Raul Jimenez, who had that terrible, terrible head injury, where I truly believe he was on a trajectory to be a world-class striker. And he right now would be their prime striker.
Wolves still?
No, he's I think he's on Fulham, but he's
just lost in that shuffle of middling teams.
He's had it really tough since that injury. Never really fully bounced back, and it was it cracked his skull from
he's still aware as a head.
Absolutely. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's doing more than just affecting his playing.
I mean, how do you have like the nerve to like want a header at all?
Oh,
And that's a key part of the game, especially if you're up front. So
as a 6'1" striker,
yeah, so that's gotta be tough.
Really. So it just was a bad game. I got the lineups up here. They brought actually Jimenez out there, so they weren't kidding around. They brought who they brought. I don't personally believe that there's a lot of super top end talent coming out of Mexico right now, even in the same way that United States does. Like United States has boys across the board right now in all the leagues you want to talk about. Our depth is always going to be in question, but I don't even believe Mexico is touching that surface of providing the world with that kind of talent right now.
For sure.
But they made it very clear they don't like the United States, which is not news to us. And they don't. I don't think they respect Pochettino's choice to come sign with the United States. So that they're gonna bring who they brought to try to bring us that L. Also recognizing we were gonna bring Christian Pulisic and some of our top end players who we got to give them a break, let them play over there. And after all, it is just a friendly.
Right.
But this lineup is gross. I'll just read this really fast. We have Josh Sargent starting in the 9 role.
Never produced.
This guy can only score for Norwich. And Norwich is decent. They play in the championship. But, I'm telling you, this guy is really weird how he'll perform with club and just gets with the U.S. and doesn't even look like he knows how to be a striker.
Yeah,
looks like he should be a winger or something. It's like, do you positionally ever play this? Next, we have Aronson, who, let me just double check. It is Brendan. We also have his little brother in the system, so sometimes you never know. Brendan is the better of the two. He plays for Leeds, center attacking mid. Don't think he's going to ever be a starter for us. Definitely a legit talent, though, in terms of clearly playing in Europe. One of these guys, too, that I always feel like he's better as a super sub. He just doesn't play well when he starts. And then sometimes he'll get these really big, huge man-of-the-match moments off the bench where he comes in the 69th minute, just provides juice and just gets something done, either an assist, gets a point on the board. Next, we had my boy Tillman, who I am also very huge on. Malik Tillman. This guy is a legit center attacking, center forward, center attacking midi for us. My biggest thing is he's very similar to Josh Sargent in the sense of dude will just play his butt off for PSV. He plays over in the Netherlands. And then he gets with us, and it's lackluster. I wouldn't say it's as bad as Sargent. Sargent is literally we can't watch him. But Malik Tillman, you're young. You're 22, I believe. I need to start seeing you playing well for the men's national team. You're in a position of need. And so his player profile is different from what we're used to having. Yeah. And I would just hope that we figure out how to maximize it. And he too needs to show up.
We're talking to you. Listen.
Yeah, come on. We next have my boy Yunus Munsa, who that's a boy. That's a baller. AC Milan.
Right.
The kid he was originally on Villarreal. It was Valencia. And he's just a dude that from a very young age has been overseas playing. We're lucky to have him. He too, though, doesn't seem to get our system that well, or our last coach's system. So I hope with the new system that Poach is running, that he'll be able to figure it out and find a spot within it.
Right.
I'm going to just read the rest of these off very quick because this is when we start to just get gross, and I can just say gross if we want. But we have my boy Gianluca Busio, who he's been bouncing around. I actually think he's
is that guy.
Right. I believe he's one of the least gross out of the rest of these names that I'm going to say. He does play overseas, but he's a guy that will be an off-the-bench piece for us at his best and when our team is at our best. Aiden Morris, I am unfamiliar with men's, and I don't really want to get to know him. So I've heard decent things about him, but from what I know, he's still in the U.S. Playing as a youngster.
Can't have that.
Don't care. Anthony Robinson is a G. That's our one true starter from this team who's rolled over. I don't think we have another left back.
No.
That's what it seems like. I mean, Mans gets called on every game. I'd be hot.
Yeah.
He plays in the Premier League as well. Y'all are jokes for that. But I don't think we have another guy. No. Tim Ream, same way. Also in the Premier League. Don't know how you're still out here. You're 38 years old. I respect your game, bro. You've held it down. But You have zero pace, bro. And at the at the level what we're asking you to do night in and night out now, we just don't have enough backup. We just don't have
First
enough
time
cushion.
on FIFA I've seen somebody with literally it says 0. No, I'm
Yeah,
kidding,
no, but it's
like,
damn near.
It's like 20s, 30s. It's bad.
Straight up. And then we have Miles Robinson, who is the brother of Anthony Robinson. I think he's actually pretty solid. Still needs to continue improving. But, like, you know, he's a guy that I hope can be one of the center backs for the future. And then Joe Scally, who's a right back who also plays overseas. I believe he's on Mönchengladbach.
Call him the Scallywag, boy.
Scallywagger. He's not great, but he does play overseas. And that should give you a real idea. We had also 3 substitutes. Along with I don't even want to go into how many players they brought compared to how many players we brought to this game. They had literally, I think, 9 subs. So, you know, I think we brought 7 players on the side as well, and we only subbed 3. But nonetheless, we didn't bring the guys who were going to win the game. I just wish we had a better showing for his first game. But when Christian Pulisic and those guys get back, it better be some urgency with this team because we have a huge World Cup coming up. And with this, I can tell nobody wants to embarrass themselves. Nobody wants to embarrass themselves. And they're starting to get a real idea of what it's going to take to not embarrass yourself, which is some real hard work. And, like, I think he's now understanding, like, what we've talked about for a lot, which is we have good players, but that depth is scary.
Yeah.
And so when he starts picking into our pool, he's like, where did everything go? So that's the quick update. We're going to have everything soccer related when it comes to that and Champions League as it continues to progress. I will have you guys covered in all of that. So no worries. And good luck to Pochettino and the guys as they continue to progress in these World Cup qualies, although because we're one of the host nations.
There, baby.
So we're guaranteed. Lastly, before we end today's show, we got to touch on the MLB, as we always do. Mitch has had y'all, and he will continue to have y'all. So what do we got going? I know it's getting down to the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, man. So right now we got down to our Final 4, Yankees versus Guardians, Mets versus Dodgers. The Dodgers and the Mets series has been very back and forth. Seems like either team dominates their game. If the Mets are able to score in the first couple of innings, it really brings them out and kind of halts the offense for the Dodgers. So that's the games they've won, both games that they got a chance to get out early and put a stomping on the Dodgers early. They've been able to win. So that seems to be the key to getting wins for the Mets is score early, score often. The Dodgers, you know, kind of in flux with their lineup.
Yeah.
Guys showing up one game, not showing up another game. It's been kind of tough for them. The games are been back and forth. 9-0 game, 7-3 game, game 2, 8-0 game 3,
blowouts,
10-2 game 4, 12-6 game 5. So these aren't very close games. They are still exciting, but they haven't been that close when it comes to clutch time. Game 6 will be on Sunday. They're going to be playing at 5 o'clock at the Dodger Stadium. So make sure you tune into that because guys like Shohei, Freddie Freeman, and Mookie Betts have been showing out for the Dodgers. And then you got guys like Pete Alonso, Francisco Lindor, Mark Vientos really showing up for the Mets. Lots of offense going on for one team or the other in these games because there have been games with shutouts, but the other team usually scores about 7 or 8 runs in those games.
Right.
So still plenty of offense, still excitement to watch. Tune into those games. And then on the flip side for the AL, we got the Yankees and the Guardians. Another one where it's like, man, these guys for the Yankees are really showing out. Judge and Stanton last game hit back-to-back home runs in the 8th inning to give them a lead.
Crazy.
But then against Emmanuel Clase, which is the best closer. Best closer in the league. Who would have thought? They brought him in with 2 outs in the 8th. Judge hits a 2-run home run. Then the very next batter, Stanton, hits a solo home run. They add another insurance run in the 9th inning to make it 5-3.
Yeah.
Then with 2 outs left, or with 2 outs in the 9th inning, bottom of the 9th, what is my man's name? Because it is wild. I can't even think of his name. Let's see. How can I pronounce this? Can you pronounce Joe Kinsey?
Oh,
Noel.
yeah.
2 outs, hits a
John
two-run,
Kenzie.
two-run absolute bomb.
Dude, that thing,
Oh my
first as a
goodness.
rookie, too.
Yeah, as a
First
rookie,
rookie.
pinch hit straight off the bench.
First rookie in postseason history.
Right. Hey,
that's hard. That's history.
He went hard. They made cards right after that that are vintage
for the moment.
just for them, just for the moment. So shouts out to Noel for coming in clutch as a pinch hitter, 2-run bomb to tie the game. And then in the 10th inning, after shutting the Yankees out, David Fry comes up with 2 outs with a man on third, hits a walk-off bomb to left field.
Done it before.
Lots of excitement in this series. This series has definitely been back and forth. Right now, it's currently in the 9th, tied. So if you aren't tuned in after you watch this, go watch that. It's been exciting baseball. At the end of the day, if you don't watch all 162 games of the regular season, this is really when you should watch. This is when you'll get excited for baseball and actually become a fan, because it's been a lot of stars showing up, showing out, and games going back and forth with a lot of excitement down to the last inning, down to the last out. Mm. So make sure you're tuning into these games, because this is the most exciting baseball is going to get.
It's so intense.
Yeah.
Like the word intense and intensity, I feel like just has to be associated with playoff baseball. There's just something different about it.
Right.
In comparison, obviously, to the regular season, but even compared to some of these other sports where
the crowds, man.
The crowds
are crazy.
And the one-on-one nature of some of this stuff, where it's really like when you were watching Class A take on, I mean, that felt like a gladiator battle.
Right, yeah.
With him taking on Judge and Stanton, and the way that they both exuded energy after they took him deep, after they bombed on him.
Juice.
Bro, the whole, it almost felt like the whole entire team got a battery pack and just charged them up real fast. I mean, every single person looked like they got an adrenaline shot in that place.
Right.
And there are definitely other things that happen in other sports that can kind of seem similar. But dude, a playoff home run
in the bottom of the ninth. I mean, I was just thinking that's got to be like getting that game winner in soccer, where you're just like, last one, we got it, 92nd minute, we win. Like, it's just like, it's like drop the mic type of thing, where it's like
that has to be
the whole crowd's going absolutely crazy. Bro. You can't hear nothing. Like, just imagine how that feels, like running towards your flag to do a slide after celebrating for a goal, or to be that guy running around the bases after you hit a game time. You just, the whole crowd, everything's electric. You got to have goosebumps the whole time. So really, really tune in, because it's exciting stuff.
Yeah. And, we just have to say before we fully close out tonight's show, Warriors are winning 51-27 right now. That is a live update. We are 6 minutes short of halftime, but it sure as heck looks like we're going to go 6-0. As well as 3-0 in terms of the conference or division. I'm sorry. But we're going to go 6-0 for the preseason. And just like the rest of this stuff, it's been pretty decisive. 51 points with 6 minutes left to go in the half.
Right.
That's kind of the numbers we've been used to with some of our more high-powered offenses of the past. Very exciting to see.
It's interesting, too, because I did see something that said this will be the 4th time that we've been undefeated in preseason over the last few years. In the other 3 years that we went undefeated in preseason, we won the championship.
Oh, wow! Oh, wow!
Right there. I know it's just but got some little premonition going on.
I thought you were going to say we were back. Hey, so just so you know, that's about as good of a way as we can end the show for y'all. Good juju in the air. Warriors are going to go undefeated. Other times that's happened. Rings were put on fingers. We're not talking about weddings. And the last person I just got to shout out, because I feel like we don't mention him quite enough, or I don't, is just Trace Jackson Davis.
True.
They've said that he might have grown as well this offseason, which I can believe, because he's still young. They say you technically stop at around 25. He just started 25. But they say he might be 6'10", 6'11" now, pushing towards the 7-foot realm, and he has a big wingspan. So there is hope for him as our starting center.
Yeah.
I would love to see that this year, and I'm seeing him showing out tonight. His defensive presence as well has always been something I've loved.
Big blocks.
And so there's a lot of real positives to look forward to this season.
Mm.
And good luck to all of you fans out there for all of
Yes,
your
sir.
teams. You can drop in the comments who you feel like you'll see in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
And lastly, just please do not forget to share this content, like this content, and subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any notifications when we drop content, when
Yes,
we drop
sir.
updates, when we drop shorts, all of the above.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be the first to know. So make sure you click that red button, and we'll
Yes, sir.
see you next week.